again, for me, I think it is an important factor to consider that there is a cost to providing sustainable solutions all the way up the food chain, from manufacturing that piece of equipment in a sustainable way for it to
To me, that's going too micro, because either you're in or you're in or you're out, you're out. And I touched on people wanting to pay more. I've spoken to printers who said,
but they do, but I'm saying they don't want to pay. They say they'll pay more, but look what's happening in the grocery stores. And I know a lot of it is recession and shrinkflation and all of that. But how much of that is also because of the repackaging requirements for sustainable packaging, for different manufacturing processes? It all flows downstream to the person who has to buy that banana that's wrapped in plastic, which blows my mind that somebody
where have you
decided need
seen
to
bananas
happen.
wrapped in plastic?
Have you not seen fruit wrapped in plastic?
No, and even the
Oranges
organic,
wrapped in
no, even
plastic.
the organic stuff that I see, I don't see it in
I see it
plastic.
all the time, especially in the States.
Oh, thank you. We're in Canada. But
Yeah, but no, I've seen it in Canada for sure.
listen, I could go through the store with my phone and do, hey, what's sustainable about buying an organic apple wrapped in plastic?
I hear you.
No,
But
no,
what
I'm
I'm
saying
trying to,
that's what I could do.
but I'm saying that a lot of the increases in food costs today, I would argue, have a lot to do with the mandates for sustainable
I wouldn't agree because
products.
most of the stuff I'm seeing is not packaged differently, unless you're talking about your fruit, right? I don't
No,
see.
there's a huge, like, even for example the blister packs of products at Costco that used to come, you buy your Sam's gonna smile at this, but you buy your vitamins and it's blister packed in, and now instead of that, to remove all of the packaging and the superfluous waste, it's now a sort of a cardboard sleeve holder where it sits. So they've had to change the way they package up their products to
Oh,
address this.
they changed from the plastic clamshells to those cardboard cards.
Yes,
Theft.
but you would think.
Cards, you now get the product behind the counter from somebody brings it, right? They're not putting expensive things anymore. It's all part of it. They can make it say it's cardboard, but it's cheaper to produce and throw out the cardboard. It's not about the sustainability even. It's about them selling it, adding more on the shelf, and
It's
keeping.
about it's about the plastics in the
It's about getting more cards on the fucking pegboard than you can clamshells. Okay? Theft. They could say it's about that, but where they had 10 pieces before and they get 40 now, the dollars that they take in because of that are far greater.
I think it both play into the costs. There's a lot of factors. I just think
Costco's
that
only about the bottom line
We should ask
dollars.
LinkedIn.
the role that the demand for sustainability is
Demand,
having,
demand. Who is the demand from?
the consumer,
Says who?
the marketplace.
People going out to conduct polls because pollsters are fucking accurate. The whole sustainability thing. Where does everyone get all this shit?
Well,
It's all being pushed by
global.
somebody. It didn't start with the
It's
consumer going, I don't like the packaging.
It's because
no, it's the whole global warming argument. That's where it all stems from.
Everyone's full of shit.
I just think it's a conversation that is not going to go away. The demand for sustainable solutions is going to continue to grow. The demand for sustainable packaging, print, whatever it is. But the cost to produce it, I believe, is why it's still not being adopted into the overarching marketing strategies, because for some it is just too cost prohibitive to provide and address the need the way the expectations are. The nobody wants. I remember when it was in the 80s, it was like printed on recyclable paper, printed on recycled paper, and you had to know the difference between which icon was recyclable and which was recycled, because apparently it made a big deal.
Nobody fucking knows the difference.
unless you're in the industry and was forced to.
Nobody knows. I'm in the industry. I forget which is what, and it
Oh,
doesn't matter, and it never mattered.
but the point is, when people found out what it cost to print on recycled paper, they were like, fuck, I'm not paying that. But if it's recyclable and it's what I'm used to paying, I'll put that logo on. And that's 50 years ago. So it still will come down to how much is the buyer willing to pay for the solution that he wants.
It's also funny because there's a component of it too that's like, you could just write sustainable on a poly mailer and say, hi, I'm a compostable poly mailer. And the buyer is going to feel a specific way. And it might not be compostable. But if it says it on it, they're getting what they think is a compostable bag showing up at their house. And they feel like they're doing the right thing. And their neighbors might see it and think that, oh, look at them. They're, and so there's like this whole other realm of like looking good for appearance's sake rather than actually doing good for the environment.
See it. You know what? I hear from all sides. So when I take all sides and I put it together, everybody's full of shit.
Just out of curiosity.
By the way, not to cloud up the fact that it is important that we do watch what we do for the environment. Like that's absolutely important. Personally, I think it's just too late. Because when you got one side doing it, the other side not, the other side of the world not, who we all kidding? And even the goods we buy that come in from other places, not here, how rigor a test are we putting them through to make sure that it's sustainable? Now, the big box stores will say they have this and they have that, but they always get caught in something anyways, and then they claim they didn't know and they didn't see and blah, 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 and the big guys pay a fine and it's all okay and everyone forgets, right? But it is a bag of treats where you really just don't know. And as we said before, the cost of sustainability, who wants to bear it? Who wants to pay for it? Right? Personally, if something's $20 unsustainable, $30 for sustainable, I'm going for the 20 because I know most of it is bullshit nonsense and not everybody's walking the talk, talking the walk, right? End of stories. Quebec, I see all the restaurants throw the wine bottles in the garbage because the SAQ, the Quebec government liquor store, doesn't have a setup for them to return empty bottles. Or the stuff we recycle ends up in the garbage. And it happens everywhere. And then I talk to all these people, printers, non-printers, retailers, The truth is, on a side conversation and not a poll, people think not that sustainability is not important, it is, but the whole process is full of shit and the way people are doing it and the cost and who's getting and all that other stuff. And really, what are we supposed to do? So I worry about me. I try to buy the stuff. Thinking about organic foods. Who wraps fruit in plastic? What about that plastic? Why is it in plastic? What keeps it so organic? Who cares? Right? The stuff they're using to promote the organic thing is killing us because I'm sure that's not recyclable plastic or saran wrap. So again, it all comes back to the same thing. Do what you want. Don't impose it on others. If you want sustainable, then pay. You know how many printers tell me they quote someone something super sustainable when the guy, girl, company gets the price, they're like, no way. Well, maybe people should ask people behind the scenes what's really going on. I'm not a real believer in polls unless it's for your own use.